prejudice from one generation to the next generation. And Jesus says, I must need go through Samaria. And the boy says, but mom, it's not fair that we and the Samaritans don't get along, the child says. And the mother says, I don't care. I did not start it. I ain't going to change it. It's going to stay that way. And he said to the dad, but dad, don't but dad me. Life is not fair. This is the way it started, and this is the way it's going to end. Let me ask you, what are some things that divide people? What are some geography divides people? There's a huge river. In Africa, there's a river called the Tano, huge river. In Brazil, the Amazon. I went to Trinidad and they told me that my friend said, there's a river behind the house. I said, what river behind the house? It's a little canal that's running behind the house. And he calls it a river. You got to come to Guyana to see the mighty Berbice and the great Essequibo. There's nothing like that in Jamaica. There are just some trickles. There are just some trickles that run through, and they call it a river. Sometimes rivers divide people. Sometimes mountains divide people. The great Mississippi is a river, but there's also the Rocky Mountains. So if you're east of the Rockies, it takes too much to get west of the Rockies. So you abandon the process. So if you live east of the Rockies, you just stay east because we don't have the time nor the communication. But that was back then. Back then, rivers and mountains could have divided people, and you could have had a legitimate excuse. Sometimes language divides people. Swahili versus English. It was so interesting today to hear the different language. And you know that I don't understand fully what they're saying. And some people, because I don't understand fully what you're saying, man, you stay your way, I stay my way because I don't quite understand what you're saying. Language, English versus Swahili, Spanish and German, Mandarin. It's fascinating. You can have a PhD in English, and a child can tell you turn right in Tongan, but you won't understand. You won't understand. Language seems to divide people. And even when the language is good, sometimes you have broken language. You have some broken. In English, some of you don't speak the Queen's English. You speak a broken form. We was. You has. Queen Elizabeth would say, are these my subjects? You has and you is. In Ghana, they said, me been there. I was there. Me been there. I'm going to go back. My African-American sister, I was trying to tell them about the trees. And for the life of me, she couldn't understand. And I thought that something was wrong with her because she couldn't understand me. Not realizing that I kept dropping my H's. So when I want to say 3, I say tree. And she said, is this an apple tree, Brother Fortune? Because I keep dropping my H's. Sometimes language divides people. But I tell you that there's a language